Get Valiant.
We are Getting Valiant with Get Valiant number 198. I'm Hoosier.
And I'm Josh, and welcome to the Big 198.
Growing. It's growing. So
It's getting bigger. It's
Man.
bigger every time you see it.
Well, we took 1 week off. Things
It was
happened
my fault.
that week.
It was my fault. I was in the nice beaches of St. Augustine, Florida. I had bad internet. That's really what stopped it.
Oh, man. First world problems.
Yeah, if you go on vacation and 8 other people show up and they've all got a device,
yeah,
you're not getting on the internet.
Yeah.
It was that bad. That's how bad it was. Like 8 more people showed up. They all had cell phones and tablets, and I would just be like, "Wow, I can't even read ESPN with the images turned off."
Disappointing, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, I did it in Vegas with Colin Bunn on that special show. So
yeah,
we're gonna have to do it. So
yeah, I just didn't want to do it, and be like, "Well, sorry, I'm cutting out every minute."
Yep. Thanks for everybody jumping on the chat. We appreciate everybody jumping on the chat. So Scott Bloom's on here. We got Greg Katzman saying hi. So be nice about the books. Greg's here.
Yep.
Which is
everything's 2 thumbs up, 5 stars, Greg.
Yep. When we say earmuffs, you're gonna hear something. And that's what we try to do. We try to keep it what we feel like the books are, because these are characters we love, we enjoy, and that's kind of where everything's running. So, dude, I think we might. I'm gonna throw this on right now for people if you're watching us, whatever, and you don't know how we are. We do something that's a little bit of a spoiler alert. Spoiler alert. Read the books. Exo Manowar number 7 and Ninjak number 4. So
yeah,
some bookie books came out this week, and it's kind of nice, man.
Yeah, that's a nice image of Exo and the new armor look.
Yeah, we could talk more about that at the later bit, guys. We're going to talk a little bit more about that. I'm going to talk a little bit more about that at the end.
Yeah.
Of the show. So stay tuned to the end, because I'm going to talk about something about the end that you're going to want to listen to. And it does involve the armor. So just saying. So
yeah.
X-Men number 7, Dennis Hopeless, Emilio Lasso, Ruth Redmond, and I believe Hassan on the letters. So again, the art team, I believe, is killing it. And I think this book actually produced some really cool covers. Again, Exo is a cool looking character to give us continued cool looking imagery. So
yeah, and we've said this a lot. Lately, there's just something that has really popped about the covers. And when that happens, I think it's a great thing. Obviously, we do this podcast. We want these books to do as well as we do. We have no other interest other than we're just hardcore fans, But it's I do feel for a while, they were looking a little dull, And I think especially Exo. I just feel it's a flagship character. You got to have rad looking covers, get people to pull those books in.
Yep. Yeah. One thing I do think that would have been cool, though, this cover specifically, this would have been a cool chromium cover. There's not many books I actually okay, yeah, that would be chromium, but that would be one of them.
Well, there's this paper shortage I keep hearing about, so maybe Valiant can start kicking back on some chromiums, let's do that.
Dude, you could definitely get over some Wildstorm books or some Wildcats or something. I'm sure there's going to be a ton of them still out there. Yeah. Hey,
work from Farm and Woody.
Yeah. And I think you somewhat here have a relevant to the story cover. I know that's one of the things that we've kind of wanted, is the covers to kind of relate to the story to some degree. Obviously not spoiling, but being relatable, where it's not just all pinups, right?
Yeah.
I think that's kind of a interesting piece. I love that when it kind of ties you in, that gets you excited about the story when you see something, or hey, we can't show you this cover just yet because it's going to spoil what happens the issues before.
Yeah, but you know what though, I used to be really harsh on that, and I used to always be I hate Valiant doing these pinup covers. I think I even complained to Dinesh about it one time, just talking with him. I was I wish you guys did more covers where it's hey, the bad guy that so and so is going to face in this issue. Why not show them? Why not make something that looks like that? But I mean, it just is what it is. And honestly, everybody does it now. Like everybody kind of does these pinup covers. It's not just a Valiant thing; it's everybody. So it's like, how do you get mad at them for it? Everybody else is doing it.
But I think we talked about this image outside of the red on this. If that was actually fully the full Exo sword, that would be a badass T-shirt image.
Oh yeah,
that would be a badass T-shirt image if you had the full sword showing. But yeah, I think that's sometimes what you get when you do good pinups too, is you get good images for potential other marketing issues, and you could have Travis over at Valiant do his crazy things that he does. Which would be pretty cool. So you want to get into the story that we have here with us?
Let's do this, and this one kind of starts with a naked Exo popping up in a little bar after Shanhara stopped working, and it's kind of a weird intro. I was like, what in the hell is this?
Yeah, because he just had that incident, and Shanhara's glitching in and out, and just not really holding up well. And we have a butt ass Exo who could probably get arrested for exposing himself to a minor in the streets.
Yeah, and not a first for him. He's been naked before.
Yeah.
In different volumes, so it's kind of his thing. He's not bashful.
Yeah, he's kind of worn a bear skin before.
Yeah, we're not an R-rated podcast, so we don't need to really go there. I'm just saying though, he doesn't seem to be making any excuses for what he's got. So maybe it's a good thing to put some objects in front of it.
Yep. Yeah, but ultimately, again, we're coming out with a good Emilio story. But I mean, just to wrap this up, this quick story, it's a continued journey of trying to get a nanite storm and Troy running things in the background, and it turns out that he's really actually trying to hack Exo and take over the Exo Manowar suit. And meanwhile, he's riding around in a Amazon Echo ball that's larger than the one Desmond has, and just kind of weird. There's things there, and it turns out he's the bad dude. So,
who saw that coming? And the thing about,
back.
Yeah, I hate how so split up Shanhara is. Like Shanhara is part of Arik. Shanhara's helping little Desmond with his math homework, and then Troy's got his little hooks in her too. I mean, obviously, we've been saying all along, we felt this dude was obviously bad news. So it just kind of it comes to light finally at the very end, where Shanhara's like, hold on, he's the one that's caused all this, So, yeah, I mean,
yeah, it's so weird because he's basically inside Shanhara in the ball, right? And then we know what Shanhara did when Exo got the costume in Exo Manowar, the very first volume of 2012, of how would read these soldiers and who they were and understood. Shanhara just knew these people, and yet Troy Whitaker is this brilliant mind to take over the most technological, sentient armor. It just, I don't know, it just doesn't line up. It doesn't fit what Shanhara would be. It's, I don't know, it's, very trusting Arik, who's, and trustworthy Shanhara, and nobody else has been able to do it besides Livewire, Yeah,
and I was going to say, Livewire was the host at one point for a short moment, and I wonder if something had happened there where she just, where the armor just stopped murdering everyone who put the armor on.
Right.
But, yeah, I mean, I don't know. The thing is, I will say I like this issue just a hair better than the last one. I think I gave the last one a really low score. I'm not going to go super high on this one, but I feel like it's just finally kind of getting there where it's okay, finally, we see Troy's true intentions. He's obviously evil. We've known, I mean, he always felt like he was going to be. But Arik is still an idiot. He doesn't see anything until everyone else is
7 issues of him looking like an idiot of an 8-issue story.
Yeah, like the little kid doing his math knows more about what's going on than he does. So I complain every time we do these episodes. I'm looking forward to a fresh start with this character. Hopefully next year. Hopefully something.
Wait till the end. We're going to talk more about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's where I'm at. It was kind of like there was 7 issues of Arik and Shanhara basically being duped. Just like really the majority of what's going to, I believe, to be Dennis Hopeless's run, 8 issue, I believe. And it's kind of sad to kind of think of that the bulk of this was spent with that.
Yeah. Too much build up to this.
Yeah.
And for me, like, I'm just going to score this real quick. I'm going to give it a 2.5 out of 5. There's some good in it. There's some bad in it, Definitely has a lot of good visuals, a lot of great covers. The little part about, like, the fact that Shanhara was kind of trying to help the kid with his arithmetic or whatever it was while, like, dealing with, like, Troy Whitaker and all that. I've always liked the human moments within X-O Manowar, especially during Venditti's run. So it did kind of remind me of that, just like a moment. But, yeah. Other than that, I'm done.
Yep. Anthony Port, welcome. Yeah, I'm going to be right there. I like the art. I think the art is really well done, right? So I appreciate the art that's being done here. The story, what it's doing with the character, who the character has turned out to be, is just not my bag. So I think I'm going to probably, I think I'm going to be right there with you. 2.5, 2.75 benefit of the doubt type of thing. It's just taken a little bit longer to get here when everybody saw that, right? So to have that payout that everybody saw for that long is not, I don't know. It's a long payout for something we all saw coming.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, 2.5. I'm hoping that, I'm hoping it ends well with this one coming up next month. So.
Yeah.
Let's move over to a little Ninjak number 4.
The big number 4. Yeah, and so this one, we finally kind of get a lot more of the Kingmaker, is that his name?
Yeah, let's creator this though too with Jeff Parker, Lobel, Polito, Dollhouse. So you see an extra artist on here and a colorist.
And you'll notice a different colorist about halfway through.
Mm-hmm.
We finally kind of get like everybody out in the open on this one, and the real fun of the issue I thought came like halfway through it, really. Just where like they kind of hatched their little plan to see these people. They see the Kingmaker and his little I think his sister, who she has the ability of like kind of like some like mental abilities, whereas his ability is just like disrupting electronics.
Yeah.
They're a pretty good team together.
I do like that they talked about that they were created in a Black Ops lab. So that was kind of cool. I like how they were kind of like, okay, here's kind of where this is coming from. It's a Black Ops lab named Daylight. So I dig that. But did they name the sister yet?
I didn't notice. I had wondered if her name, well, because eventually, like they wonder about what her range is of her abilities, and she kind of finds Ninjak, and she's like, I didn't know if anyone could, who knows that the siphon exists. I didn't know if that was like her name or if that's just what she does, like if that's how she gets into people's minds or whatever, But like, regardless, she shows up. And then from there, it's kind of like, the gig's up, like they know that he's out there. They know it's Ninjak too.
But they only know one of them's there. They don't know it's 2 people there. So
yeah. They just know Ninjak's there.
Right.
And, the issue kind of ends with Ninjak and oh my gosh, I forget her name. I've been so bad with it, but they kind of dive in the water. They're off. And then, the Kingmaker's like, I know it's Colin King. He's of the Ninja program, and we're going to get him. We're going to tear the planet apart to kill Ninjak. And you see all these other characters kind of reminisce of what we saw with issue 2, where we saw like the weird X-Men characters that just showed up, and they look cool. I mean, like some of these characters, like this guy with the top hat and like the weird like Court of Owls mask, he looks pretty interesting. And then the guy that looks like he's out of like Black Lagoon. But yeah, like you know what? Like honestly, like I love the way this book looked. And even like Polito's work, which I've been really critical of, I feel like they did a lot more with the coloring, where it's just not like, hey, everything in this panel is orange, and then the next panel everything's purple. Like they took the time to like make some things stand out a little bit, and it was really nice. I just think it like that for me paid off a lot more. Like, and then like all of a sudden I was like, whoa, there's new art.
So I'll ask you a question.
Yeah.
How's my camera angle look with it's just like my eyeballs? You can only see the top of my head.
It looks weird.
Looked like
Looks
something.
like something I've seen in this book though a lot.
I mean, it's just kind of weird, like, Colin King riding his scooter. I do dig his little Vans that he looks like he's wearing there, so that's cool. But I'm digging this story. I really like where the story is going. I do like what Jeff Parker's doing. I think it's a story that's really that's capturing it. And man, was I happy to see the art change. The art change really helped. And I'm sorry, I just can't do that. I don't like it in the book, where you only see the top half of the faces, like right here in some of these images that were, yeah. And so, yeah, I think it's a really cool story. I do think it's cool that Neville's kind of back in action a little bit with Ninjak. I do feel like they kind of did it in a way that made sense. Well,
they didn't just be like, "Hey, you're back with MI6. Cool, yeah. Nothing ever happened between us." Right. Like it still feels like there is that rift, but they can move the story along and involve everyone.
Yep. Yeah, this is bigger than you right now, but. And Daylight, like it's really, I want to know more about Daylight. It's really got me caught into with that. And then at the end where, it's another group of, I don't know if they're going to be X-Men knockoffs like the first group that tried going for Colin in issue number 1 and 2. But it ends with Colin basically having, they're gunning for Colin directly, gunning for King. And it warms my heart to see such a good story, and to see the end piece where it talked about a little bit of change happening in the next arc.
Yeah, and like one thing when I was looking at the art, like once like halfway through, I really liked the art style. Like when it switched over, I was like, I really like this. Like, I mean, like, would we still be complaining about art if we had these visuals? I mean, they're not overly detailed. It's a bit of a simple style, but at the same time, like, it looks nice. It looks clean line work.
Yeah,
the coloring looks really good on it.
Even just when they changed art in the car, you have this Polito art that you see here, and then there's another change that you clearly see that the car's kind of a little different. And you could tell that artist was trying to kind of keep that same, because I think it's the panel after this that the art changed. Mm-hmm. And that artist, Lavelle, you could tell that there was definitely an attempt to try to keep the same style. And then it slowly started moving to that style throughout the book. And so it was it wasn't just this like boom jarring. But once they get to Hawaii and they're looking through the binoculars, you can tell that there's definitely a lot more rendering and a lot more angles, and it's not as flat.
Well, I thought once you saw like the vegetation,
yeah,
it's like the leaves have like a little bit of detail to them. Yeah. Some of them are colored, some of them are shaded. I was like, this is when it changes. So
even the details where when Colin jumps into the limo or whatever it is. That just the details of Colin in that image were better. Like, yeah, a lot more. You could tell who he was a lot easier, and a lot. It was vastly improved when that happened. So,
and like I think you just kind of hit on the head too when you're talking about the story. Like the story has been amazing on this. Mm-hmm. If there's one thing that like Valiant has done perfect, I just think like they have really been able to handle Ninjak. We've had 3 different storylines with him now. We've had Kins, then Crystal Gage, now this one. And regardless of what you think about the art, the story is amazing. And man, I just feel like it's going to be a hard wait, waiting until whenever this book comes back. And one little note at the end of this book, once they say we're all out to get Ninjak, the next page is, hey, Mike Norton, who you guys might have remembered from The Adventures of Archer and Armstrong. I think he's worked on some Quantum and Woody stuff maybe too. Mm-hmm. He's going to do the art when the book comes back. And, I feel like people have always been very favorable to his art when he's done work for Valiant. So, you know what? I'll be glad to see it personally, just because I do feel like maybe Javier Pulido's style just hasn't really worked here,
Right.
But at the very least, I would say this. On this last issue, I felt like they did a lot more to color his work than they had in some of the previous issues. And I just think, if you at least could have given me that, it would have made it a little bit easier on my eyes, personally. But, yeah, it is what it is.
Agreed. Took that off, but I want to post something. And if you want to share this. Yeah, I completely think that if changing up what they did wasn't interesting. It wasn't interesting. It was a smart move. I don't know if it was done by need or because of our voice being heard on it. But here's one thing I got at Rose City Comic Con, or actually no, it was Grit City Comic Con in Tacoma. It was Ibrahim Mustafa did a sketch cover for me of this, and yeah, Ibrahim
cool.
did one of the covers. I believe it was the pre-order cover, possibly on Ninjak #1. And so Ibrahim's done some covers with Ninjak. Ibrahim basically told me, I would love to be working on some Valiant stuff. Let's get on it. And I enjoy Ibrahim. I think he's got a good eye for things. I do think Ninjak's a good story for him. But I would be open for Ibrahim on pretty much a lot of things. But I just like the details. Jeff Parker and Ibrahim worked together on 007 before.
Mm-hmm.
And Ibrahim worked with Justin Jordan on one, and Eric mentioned this, he would love to see that pairing happen, because that was a cool story that they did with Vertigo back in the day. So I would definitely I would eat that up. So yeah, I guess do we want to score up Ninjak?
Yeah, I'm going to score this one up super high. I really like this issue. I love where the story's going. It's just, I think the only thing I'm only gonna knock it a little bit for the art. I'm more worried about the weight. I really am we're getting somewhere. Let's keep it going. I'm gonna go 4.5 on this. This is a great issue, and the secondary art, the second half art looks great. It looked like a kind of breath of fresh air. Yeah, great issue. I feel like if you've been missing out this book, if you haven't read it because you didn't like the art, pick these issues up. They're so good. Jeff Parker is just killing it on the story. And I think you can look past art if the story's good. That's my personal opinion.
I'm going to be right there with you. I don't think I'm going to go quite 4.5, but I'm going to go, 4.25. Partly because the first couple pages were that really flat art that I'm just not a fan of. I've been pretty vocal about that, but I do appreciate the adjustment and the anticipation for the adjustment. So, and the story's been really good. And again, this is one I could see it going further, and I'd be fine with it, not having to stop this one. So we'll see where it goes next. And yeah, I like what Jeff Parker's doing so far. And, having got the chance to talk to Jeff a couple cons recently, he's got sounds like some cool ideas ahead for Ninjak and, MI6 killers. I don't know. Let's see what happens up in the futures.
Yep.
Speaking of the futures, do we want to talk about the futures?
We should talk a little bit about the futures of Valiant.
The futures.
In the year 2022.
Like this? Yeah. So, yep. Yep, Kirkman art, man.
Yeah, that is such a beautiful piece.
Yeah, there's so much here to unpack, right? I mean, let's look. I'll say left to right. You know what I mean? Having Ivar Time Walker, right? Like 2022. Please be promising. I'm hoping for something, right? And then
Yeah.
you're seeing some really cool stuff. The Harbinger. Pete Stanchek. It's still trying to get used to that little uniform that Pete's got, but Dr. Mirage,
Arthur Armstrong.
exosuit. That's what I got, right? Exo back in the real exosuit, not this red upgrade. It's classic. It's good. Don't change what if it ain't broke, don't fix it. It's good.
Man, what about just right behind his shoulder, that divinity shot?
That's gorgeous. Yes, I'm up for some divinity. All of it. I mean, Punk Mambo's cool. Tama and Eternal Warrior, which that was one thing, right? The Kickstarter news.
Yeah.
So that's coming. So when you see this as the year of Valiant 2022, and it's got some things like that. Yeah. So you know what that I thought was weird going back to EXO?
What?
Where in canon did they have floating planets other than New Japan? That they just flew into floating planets like they were back in what's that movie with blue people, right? That's what it Avatar, right? Like when did that happen? Okay, sorry, I get frustrated at that.
Yeah, like looking at this image, I just feel like there's people who are going to look at this and be like, "Oh, I'm on board." Some of us have been here the whole time, obviously, through the good and the bad, And to me, like, if this is what the next year-ish of time is going to look like, I'm going to be really excited. I love seeing the fact that Ivar's popped up. We haven't seen Ivar for a very long time.
Yeah, we need to.
Divinity, is it Divinity without Matt Kent? I'm curious to see what someone else might do with that. If we're going to see Rye return, because Rye ended at such a good spot.
Mm-hmm.
And he's in that positron city dealing with all that stuff. Like, I'm ready, man. Like, there's so many of these things that I'm like, okay, well, what are we going to get? You mentioned Eternal Warrior and Tama. And one of the other things that got announced just about maybe before this image was released, there's going to be a second Valiant Kickstarter for an original graphic novel featuring Eternal Warrior and Tama called Scorched Earth. So, everybody's doing Kickstarters. Valiant doesn't need to be any different than anyone else. So I'm not familiar with the creators on it. So maybe that was the reason why they went that route, where it's like, you might not know these people, but we feel the story's strong. We're going to try something different.
And not all stories are made out to be episodic, honestly. Not all stories are made out that way.
And there could also be some print issues with why they went and did this, where they're like, hey, we want to do this book. We're going to collect the money. We're going to print it somewhere else, maybe. There's all these issues, right now in comics. And if you've been keeping up with even the news like this week, everybody's having print issues. There's not bagging boards for enough comics right now. The industry's in a really weird place. So if Valiant can find ways to get more stuff printed, however they have to do it, I'm cool with it, man.
Yep.
But we've been asking for more Eternal Warrior. I'm glad we're getting it.
Yeah. And that's funny, the print thing. And it's it's probably a bad idea just to do print books just printed and not have any digital. Just saying. So good question here, Greg. And yes, we'll do the second part, but the first part, favorite part of this 2022 piece. So what do you feel like is your favorite part of seeing this? I mean, it's hard just to put one.
Greg. I can answer it easily. I can knock a bunch of characters out in one thing. Right. The Immortal Brothers. They've been one of my favorite parts of Valiant's entire comic book universe. They're all represented.
Yeah.
And long overdue for a lot of them. Yeah. Eternal Warrior had a lot of momentum when his last book was out. But then like Archer Armstrong and Ivar, we haven't seen these guys for so long.
Yeah.
Super pumped. What about you?
Yeah. Oh man, that was a great answer because I was like, how do I mention, you know, as much as you did in one, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I've kind of said some things I like, right? Ivar's cool. I'm really excited for Archer and Armstrong. That Eternal Warrior, the armor getting back to where it was. That makes me feel really good. Is like, okay, that is a coming back to form. That is like a return, right? And so that makes me good. But what really makes all of it, I mean, what really gets me excited is Divinity. The stories, with Divinity, with what Kent did, and that also leaves me like kind of worrisome, but was it's just so deep, right? So deep and thoughtful, and like just such a cool character that Divinity is a badass, and you can't not have them. So
Yep.
I mean, there's a lot to like. There's a lot to like.
Yeah. Probably the only thing I'm not like super excited for within it, and it just depends upon what the output is going to be is Roku. I just didn't like the last miniseries, her own little standalone miniseries. So like, depending upon what her role is going to be next year, I mean, or maybe if it's just something vastly different than what we just saw, that might be the only thing where I'm just like, I'm not as excited.
I mean, I could say the same thing with Dr. Mirage on that too. I wasn't too pumped on the last series with Dr. Mirage, but yeah, I mean, Roku's just not. Yeah, and I'm excited to get Livewire back though, to have Livewire change. I didn't like the last arc that Livewire left on, but I liked the beginning of those first 2 volumes.
I
just didn't like that last one, and that might have been one of those things where art did it for me there. But yeah, I really dig that, and there's a little bit more that came out this week, and let's move over to what that is. Greg kind of asked us about it, and that is Deadside War Part 1, Shadow Man, January 19th, 2022. It's this John Davis Hunt just makes you realize why you like John Davis Hunt art, even though he's not on the series. So I think John Davis is still going to be doing covers, though.
Yeah, that's a great cover image. If that is indeed like the A cover. Interiors are by Pedro, yeah. And they look awesome. So if you go over to Comic Book Resources or CBR.com, they have the article up over there that shows a couple of the pieces, and
we have them up on the screen right now too.
Yeah, and yeah, they just look great. The interiors are gonna be awesome. It's that's gonna be the thing that's gonna kick off. Oh my god, I didn't even see that image that you just posted. The one where it's like Shadow Man doing like the Thing homage.
Yeah, and Greg says that John is doing all the A covers, so that's great. Oh. But yes, it's so freaking cool.
Oh my gosh, that is the best of the horror covers, easily. That's amazing.
Yeah, there's lots to like. There is lots to darn like within this, is what I got to say. And it's not going to necessarily be an event, but it's one thing that I would ask for, because you think that with Deadside and everything happening within the Valiant universe, and there's all these, blights or whatever they call them, where Deadside's kind of opening up and creatures and whatnot are coming, is I would love for some Deadside War one-shots of like Faith dealing with these creatures coming out, like a Faith one-shot dealing with a Deadside creature, an Archer and Armstrong one-shot dealing with these creatures coming out, and Quantum and Woody dealing with, what I mean? Just to hit some one-shots during this Deadside War Part 1, 2, 3, 4, like have it tie into the stories where we get to see these characters a little bit, and it still enhances this Deadside War story, and it's happening on the other side of, United States and other places, and that would be fun. And then you could throw Dr. Mirage and Punk Mambo into the main story. I feel like that would be a fun tie-in piece to have some of these things, because it's a huge story. Deadside's riding the all of Earth, right? And if Deadside's riding all of Earth, it's happening all over. And Shadow Man's badass, but Shadow Man can't quite do all of it.
Yeah. You know what I like about your suggestion is that you used a lot of characters that we don't necessarily see all the time.
Yeah.
Faith, Quantum and Woody, like that would be awesome, because both those books would be so vastly different from one another. Also, where like Quantum and Woody's would be funny. I feel like Faith would be like it'd be like a superhero book, but a little bit more heartfelt. I think like if you get like Bloodshot or Ninjak, it's just going to be a lot of like pure damage being inflicted on the page. Where it's like what Bloodshot's going to do, but it's like I like those ideas. We'll see. I mean, what happens with any of this, but. Man, I can't even get over that cover. That thing
so
cover.
good.
So amazing.
So good. So, yeah, I think there's lots to be excited for when you look at this, when you break down, what's happening with Cullen Bunn doing another arc in the horror piece where it was a great build up first arc that was a good story on its own. And, that's kind of that's a piece that works, right? That's a piece that is good having Colin in this. I like what Colin did with Punk Mambo. And so there's hopefully some connection there that happens. And then hopefully there's just that we get to see some more. Like, yeah.
Yeah. Good stuff, man. Very excited for it. Shadow Man comes out on January 19th. That's going to kick off this new year of Valiant. So very, very exciting.
Yeah, what do we have coming up next with some Valiant stuff? I think we have Harbinger, right? Yeah. Harbinger's just around the damn corner, and we're going to see some Harbinger. Exo Manowar number 8. So there's 8 and 9. So there's at least 2 more Exo books.
Yeah.
But Harbinger 1 coming out next week. The Harbinger, number 1.
The Harbinger.
Next week. So, and then we got November with Harbinger and Exo, and December with Harbinger and Exo, and then 2022. Is it a rebirth? Is it like the dead will walk again? I don't know. It's going to be the dead side kicking some ass. So,
yeah, fun stuff, man.
Yeah. What do you guys think on the chat? Put it in the comments. What do you think about the Valiant 2022? Who are you most excited to see, and what gets you the most excited by looking at this Kirkman art of the Valiant universe characters here that we hoping, crossing our fingers, most likely to see in 2022? Make sure you go to Valiant.com, Valiant Entertainment, and get on the Kickstarter mailing list so you're ready for that, to make that a big success right away. So I think it's going to be kind of a big thing as we can hopefully, with stories like that, we can get that out there and, push that. So, and you'll get to see quite a bit of art, I'm sure, on the campaign.
Yeah. And I was wondering, I didn't look at the article for that today, but I know, like, when they did the Kickstarter announcement for the game, it was like, hey, like, be one of the first 500. There's something cool coming up. I don't know if there's something else coming up like that along that same level with like the Eternal Warrior one, but sign up for it because I'm sure it's gonna be really awesome. To me, it's like I love supporting Kickstarters. I love all the extra stuff that you get with it, and I'm a big fan of like Valiant swag. So I'm ready. I'm like, whatever. I'm gonna go high on these things just so I can get like a bunch of cool stuff.
Yeah, I think there's hopefully going to be some awesome stuff for it too, and throw in some goodie bags and some add-ons. And
hey, can I ask one thing real quick? This got brought up on the Get Valiant Facebook page, and it was the topic of Valiant calendars.
I just brought it up right below him too at the same time.
I saw that, and I was like, oh man, Scott Bloom brought it up. Were you the one that started the conversation with Dinesh before he left, where it was like, hey Dinesh, can we have a Valiant calendar? And he was like, yeah, sure.
Give me 300 likes on this. And by like the end of the day, there was about 300 likes on it.
Yeah.
And that's when that was like February, that was like beginning, or what was that, December 2018 2017 or 2017.
It was not too long before.
It was moments before that whole thing happened. So
Yep. I feel like
Valiant.
Valiant though owes us those calendars.
They
So
do.
I'm just saying, you guys got like I'm sure a bunch of rad artwork lined up.
And what a better way!
Man. I've got calendars all over my house.
That would be the great promotional item to give to a comic book store right now for Christmas to promote Valiant books.
Yeah.
Hopefully soon, maybe put that.
It would be a great
there.
thing to put like right back here, behind my camera.
I just think it'd be a great thing to put in my office that people that don't read comic books would come and look at, and that what is that, and be able to have that conversation right there to talk about the calendar that many people look at, and maybe in a lot of other offices, and maybe we could introduce it to a lot of other people. That's one of my thoughts. Obviously, I need a calendar, and I don't want one with puppies or kittens and whatever else, but I would love to more along the lines have some cool Valiant characters and a lot of these cool comic pinups. You already have the art. Maybe we can do a print on demand somewhere or something that would work. So
yeah,
I don't know. I'd be down for it. I think it'd be fun. I think it'd be good marketing that you're paying people that will market your stuff, or people are paying to market your stuff. I think it's really cool.
Yeah.
So
just a thought. Come on, Greg, make it happen.
Crossing our fingers, stuff that we want, we like. We just need more Valiant in our lives.
Yep.
Year round, 365 days a year, make it really happen. So,
yeah.
And they did do the one that had the 12-month calendar, but it was one big thing. I want like a 12-month flip calendar that has like a new image every month. So not the big 12, you know what I'm talking about? They did do that one.
Yeah.
What I'm talking about is, have Kirkman doing this or, pull up some of the cool covers. So, yeah.
Maybe like what Valiant could do is like they could poll like the community and be like, hey, what are your favorite covers? I'm sure like someone like Chris Amundsen could do this thing on like the Valiant Comic Fans Facebook page. Get him involved. He's great at like doing like the art contest over there.
Yeah.
Get people to be like, hey, what are your favorite covers? Maybe you think like the Raphael Grandpa Bloodshot 14 cover, I think it is. Maybe that's like your favorite. That should be on a thing, or
who
maybe
doesn't like that one. I think Eric doesn't like that one.
Yeah,
I love it.
What does Eric know about Bloodshot? But anyway, maybe you're like, hey, I love that Harbinger 8 cover that Jeff Lemire did. It was on a T-shirt even for Valiant. Yeah. I don't know. All I'm saying is like it'd be great to have like some kind of like community involvement where it's like, yeah, we all think these are the 12 best covers, and they make the calendar. I don't know. Probably not enough time. We're almost at the end of October, so there's probably not time to do these kind of things.
Oh, but yeah, you already got it. Do what you feel is best. Get some cool shit up there. Pull up some of the fun stuff that's happened. And
I'm sure Anthony Port already knows like every XO cover that's like the best. He's probably got a ranking of all of them on his own.
I know Anthony does. But I mean, and maybe you can get like a store to sponsor a page or something, right? Maybe you can get some little bit of a, little
maybe a calendar of like shop exclusive covers, and you have that the shop's information on like in the corner somewhere.
Yeah,
pretty cool.
Yeah, however it is. But dude, this has been a fun little gig tonight. Just talking some couple new Valiant comics and talking about some good stuff, some good some good art and a good story. It just happens with two different books.
Yep.
So
and hopefully we can get Eric back, for one of these. He's just
200's coming. 200's coming.
He's just on walkabout somewhere,
So it happens. So we'll get it together, man. Everybody who jumped on today, thank you. I'm always happy to hop on. So people are saying let's get Greg on. So we'll see. So we'll see is right. Let's hope and cross our fingers.
Yeah.
All right, y'all. Got any closing words there, Josh?
I don't. Just a big thanks to everybody that showed up. Anthony Port, Scott, Galad, Greg Katzman, we just like seeing you guys get involved. So, whether it's on here or on our Facebook page, always chime in. Whatever your opinions are, we'd love to hear them, good or bad. So,
yeah. You know what? We're always great. My mom tells me that all the time. So, you guys have a great day. Y'all stay Valiant.